Tonight is a great victory for the American people. Today, the American people voted for change, and they voted for Democrats to take our country in a new direction. And that is exactly what we intend to do.
Don't stop there. No, we're going to change the whole system. We're going to change the whole thing. We're not going to put a new battery in a broken system. We want a new system. We want a new system.
Generally speaking, we get the joke. We know that the free market is nonsense. We know that the whole point is to game the system, to beat the market, or at least find someone who'll pay you a lot of money because they're convinced that there is a free lunch. We know this is largely about power, that it's an adults-only, no-limit game. We kind of agree with Mao that political power comes largely from the barrel of a gun.
No, we're going to change the whole system. We're going to change the whole thing.
And then the third lesson and tip actually come from two of my favorite political philosophers, Mao Tse Tung and Mother Teresa, not often coupled with each other.
No, we're going to change the whole system. We're going to change the whole thing.
Obama was a community organizer like Jesus.
No. Not God bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
No. Not God bless America. God damn America.
Can you assure the American people that there will be no pork barrel spending, none of these earmarks, these bridges to nowhere, these phony deals that are going on, that legislators won't be able to bury stuff for their districts, the stuff that's been so highly publicized?
I can pledge to you that no earmark or any of that, any description you want to make of it, will be in the bill that passes the House.
What I'm signing then is a balanced plan with a mix of tax cuts and investments. It's a plan that's been put together without earmarks or the usual pork barrel spending. John, nobody is denying that $18 billion is important. And absolutely we need earmark reform. And when I'm president, I will go line by line to make sure that we are not spending money unwisely. Earmarks have given legislators the opportunity to direct federal money to worthy projects that benefit people in their districts, and that's why I've opposed their outright elimination.
No. Not God bless America. God damn America.
Together, Mr. President, we got 2,967 pages of legislation. Not surprising, the measure has over 9,000 unnecessarily and wasteful earmarks. So much for the promise of change, Mr. President, so much for the promise of change.
This first executive order that we are signing by the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, in order to effect the appropriate disposition of individuals currently detained by the Department of Defense at Guantanamo, and promptly to close the detention facility at Guantanamo consistent with the national security and foreign policy interests of the United States and the interests of justice, I hereby order. And we then provide the process whereby Guantanamo will be closed no later than 1 year from now.
Finally tonight, the Obama administration reverses course on trials for suspected terrorists. Jeffrey Brown has the story.
Closing down Guantanamo was a top priority for the new Obama administration 2 years ago, but it ran into repeated opposition over holding or trying terror suspects in the U.S. And today, the president issued an order that will allow military trials to resume at that U.S. base on the tip of Cuba.
الآن انتخابات أمريكية طلع مواطن أسود أصله من كينيا أفريقي ومسلم وكان يدرس في مدرسة إسلامية في إندونيسيا اسمه أوباما.
What I was suggesting, you're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're absolutely right that that has not
Christian
come
faith.
My Christian faith.
Listen, neither Hannity, Beck, or Wiley nor the Tea Party would have liked Micah at all. Micah, in fact, Micah sounds, when you read his work, Micah sounds like a left-wing liberal. He sounds like a liberation theologian. Plus, Micah was black. That would make him a black liberation theologian. Instead of preaching prosperity and capitalism, mistakenly called Christianity, Micah sounded like a socialist. Micah almost sounds like a Marxist. Read his work. Micah said, "What does the Lord require of thee?" Micah preached peace, not preemptive strikes.
Offices now in Australia and in Switzerland, in London, in South America and Africa. We've been working with unions around the world, and what we're working towards is building a global organization, because workers of the world unite. It's not just a slogan anymore, it's a way we're going to have to do our work.
And that brings me to my final and most important point, which is why, at least in my opinion, NEA and its affiliates are such effective advocates. Despite what some among us would like to believe, it is not because of our creative ideas. It is not because of the merit of our positions. It is not because we care about children, and it is not because we have a vision of a great public school for every child. NEA and its affiliates are effective advocates because we have power. And we have power because there are more than 3.2 million people who are willing to pay us hundreds of millions of dollars in dues each year because they believe that we are the unions that can most effectively represent them, the unions that can protect their rights and advance their interests as education employees.
About safety for kids and drug-free for kids, That could possibly be something that we could take up in here, but the czar of safe and drug-free schools has another agenda. It's the promotion of homosexuality within our schools. He has spoken, Kevin Jennings has spoken in a favorable way about Harry Hay, who was on the cover of NAMBLA magazine, the North American Man-Boy Love Association magazine, and Kevin Jennings said of Harry Hay that he's always inspired by Harry Hay.